ability for your Blood Moon or Saluna, you can attack as early as that first turn if all the cards fall in the right order.
Oh yeah, great match. We got a good luck here from Yakira as well. And look how we're starting. I mean, do you even recognize this field right now, Kyle? We have a Toad School on the left-hand side versus an Iron Bundle here. Maybe we'll see a little bit more happening with this Hisuian Heavy Ball from Yakira's side. But
That's the
imagine
best.
what these players are thinking.
You get on stream as Ed, you're ready to see probably something you've seen a million times before, flipped over the Toad School.
The Toad School. I mean, it couldn't have started any better than that, I must say. So we've talked about how Ed could have pretty fast-paced turns here, and we've talked about how Yakira, the build of the list is very similar to Charizard, but just plays differently. What's the strategy we're going to be seeing from Yakira going against this deck? Obviously, not knowing what we're even going against at this point in time, but once we see there's some interesting Pokemon being laid out.
Yeah, you would expect for Yakira, it's more about going wide, setting up a pretty large bench, and going for that setup. Just give yourself opportunities to fight against some aggression that you may be expecting. Is there anything more aggressive than burning your whole hand on the opening turn with the professor's research?
Yeah, that's pretty aggressive if I say so myself here, Kyle. Let's see what it netted us, though. We have that Squawkabilly EX. We have the Latias EX for some retreat in action here from Ed as well. And then we have a lot of other cards in the hand still, even on top of that.
Yeah, it looks like the resources didn't line up perfectly. The Blood Moon Ursaluna does not have that battle-hardened ability ready to go just yet with the miss on the energies, but thankfully because of the Squawkabilly, there is room even more to dig deeper and try to find this turn 1 attack.
Turn 1 attack. That's what we're aiming for, as always. Iron Valiant EX. This is a Pokemon that we've seen in the near past, I guess you could kind of say, but it's a future Pokemon with that infamous ability, the Tachyon Bits, that allows you to place damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's pretty cool.
Is there a better card to add into a deck like this than the Latias? I think not. It's
so
such
good.
a benefactor
You
to
just
have that
throw 'em
opportunity.
around.
And I think this is close. I see the Earthen Vessel and a way to grab a Pokemon, but I don't know if the other energy for the turn would be there.
Well, we're seeing what Ed does for the rest of this turn here. Yeah, had to throw away a couple of supporters as well in that Penny and that Iono to the Ultra Ball earlier. Gonna see this Latias. I like marking that it's being used here to be able to retreat this Iron Bundle into the Iron Valiant EX. It's gonna allow for that Tachyon Bits once it's switched from the bench to the active position, place some damage counters down, and that's what it does.
That's a turn.
That's the turn.
That is a turn in the Pokemon TCG.
Yes, exactly. Akira, on the other hand, starting us off. This is the turn 2 now. So we have that supporter unlocked within the Arven. It's going to allow for Akira to search out some key elements here. This is a combo supplier, I guess you could say, with Arven. Selecting a tool card and an item card from out of your deck. So that's what allows you to kind of implement these cards you need to set up your future turns. We had the Dino on the bench from the original turn as well. And that Toad School, should we discuss the Toad School Toad Scroll?
I mean, if it comes up, this might not be the matchup for it. I suppose
Kinda
there
just
are that
chilling.
energy retrieval that you have to consider with trying to pull back some cards. But
Yeah.
I'm nervous with this opening setup. You have to have a wide board to get the ball rolling and set up for a decent start. Right now, it's Nest Ball and the Forest Seal Stone, so you can search out an additional resource.
Yeah, I mean, that'll lead us to a V Pokemon from the Nest Ball to be able to utilize the Forest Seal Stone right away here, activating a V-Star power that Rotom V didn't have before, but thanks to that powerful tool card, we have Star Alchemy, allowing Yakira to search out a card from the deck and put it into hand. Is that going to be the piece we need? I see the Poffin on top. And exactly as you said, Kyle, we need to go wide with our bench here. So that Poffin is going to help out a lot, grabbing some more small HP Pokemon here out onto the field. 78 HP or less here is what we're going to be seeing. And that allows for the Dino as well as the Pidgey to be established.
Right, and you see the Rare Candy in hand. There's an opportunity to go for the Hydreigon, Rare Candy that Pokemon. Say, I've got 310 hit points left. Do your worst, pal. but that doesn't win games. In this spot, you need to set up your board, go wide, get these Pokemon in play, and then draw back up with the Rotom V. You have an opportunity to maybe use that rare candy next turn on a Pidgeot, and that's a lot more valuable throughout the rest of this, what could be long game.
I feel like it is going to be a long game for sure. There are so many actions for both of these players. And of course, they're navigating a matchup they're probably not super familiar with if they were planning to play in anything meta. Toadschool jumping out of the active position onto the bench now. Safe again with that hard retreat of the energy. Dino's now in the active. Already has energy attached to it here. And we're seeing this Rotom V ending the turn with its instant charge. Not only did it have the Forest Seal Stone, but it allows extra utility with that ability to draw into 3 additional cards. Now we're over to Ed's side of the field now. Taking a quick look through the discard pile, start things off, and let's see what the hand is looking like, if we can do something here for Ed.
Yeah, well, I'd like to also mention for Yakira, she really wants to preserve that Toadschool. She retreated into a Dino and said, yeah, you can take this valuable knockout on a Pokemon with an energy, potentially, because I want to get the Toadschool out and use that slime mold colony.
The slime mold colony. What a ability name there. It means your opponent can't put anything from their discard pile back into their hand, either from abilities on Pokemon or, especially more important, trainer cards, which, like we're seeing on screen here, that's going to shut down cards like energy retrieval.
With Lana's aid coming into play here, probably a first.
There's 2 of them. Yeah, there's 2 of them in the deck here for Ed as well, and it's the really pretty version. Probably wasn't too bad to include that, but here we go. The Blood Moon Ursaluna, not the one you're used to seeing. This is the smaller Blood Moon Ursaluna, but it is just as powerful. Lining up these energy onto it thanks to its ability here, Battle Hardened, and then Mad Bites is gonna take that knockout there on that Dino. That means Ed is the first to the prize race.
Yeah, I saw the top deck of the Pidgeot, and there was already one in hand. So Yakira, off to a phenomenal start, has the Fezandipity to continue to draw here. Not only see those 3 cards from the Rotom V, but now also draw those 3 cards. And Ed's like, oh.
That's an important one to read. That is a very important one to read.
I like to get all of my cards back. Night Stretchers and energy retrievals, and oh no.
Oh yeah, what do you do now? You're going to have to be working against a lot thanks to that Toadschool. I mean, look at the card art. It's just so... that's exactly what he's doing right here. Sneaking up on you.
Cousins to a Tentacruel, right? I don't know the lore, but they're way too close.
Of course you don't know the lore there, Kyle. Well, we're going in the deck here from Yakira off of this Arven. That's going to allow for some more tool action. We see that counter gain on the screen here. How's that going to come into play in this matchup, Kyle? It's pretty cool.
There's chances you could set up for big plays if you want to spread around that damage with the Hydreigon. You could find the Dark Patch, the counter gain, and your upper Neo, and set up for a 4 energy attack in 1 turn and completely destroy what your opponent's going for. It might not be a turn for that. It's difficult to set up, but we do see this Terra Orb, so there's a little more play here with the Hydreigon coming down.
Yeah, the Terra Orb searching out the Terra Pokemon. The Hydreigon EX is a Terra type. It's a dark Pokemon here that we see. It is weak to grass. I will note that. Some of our dark Pokemon are weak to fighting or grass, but this one's weak to the bugs. The grass Pokemon. So we got that in the hands now. Buddy Poffin also being played here. And Yakira is slowly but surely establishing this entire bench. We already saw the Pidgeot EX come into play for Yakira as well, which is huge to get those quick searches out. Something we're very familiar in the Charizard decks, but shows just as much utility here. But deciding what to grab from this Buddy Poffin. It's going to be another Dino.
Yeah, makes sense. You need this Pokemon to continue to bring up attackers in this matchup. If you want to put pressure on your opponent, you need to be attacking. And we'll see that along with this turn as well. You expect to see the Pidgeot searching out some way for this Hydreigon to attack, remove the Blood Moon Ursaluna from play, and afterwards put that pressure right back on Ed to find a response without having any access to his discard pile.
Yeah, that is rough. Just another obstacle you have to work through thanks to that Toadschool. This Toadschool is played in quite a few decks now just because it is so powerful for that. My favorite part is when they can't Pokestop things into their hands. That's awkward.
They can discard them.
Yeah, they can discard them.
But they ain't going to see them again.
Exactly. That's always a bit awkward there. Well, we're going to see here from Yakira utilizing that quick search to search out an Iono. Here. First, before that Iono, we're going to see the rare candy into this Hydreigon EX. Of course, Iono can't be played since we already did a supporter for the turn, but it's remaining in the hand for future turns. We see the counter gain come down. It is activated since Yakira is down in prize cards at this moment in time.
And is there a more wacky effect than Crashing Headbutt at this point? Discarding cards from your opponent's deck while also limiting their ability to see these cards again. Triple energy discard. That's 6 energies hitting the discard pile right now.
At one time, 3 on that Blood Moon Ursaluna, and you can't retrieve anything from the discard pile, and then 3 there off of that Crashing Headbutt.
Ed! What are we going to do here, pal?
Look at that. The face. Ed's face says it all. They're like, wow. Wow, I'm in quite a pickle here. I'm just going to promote this Iron Bundle.
We got news looking at the deck list. It's 6 fighting energy in the list.
Oh, no.
There's not a lot of energies left to attack with.
Wow.
There is a Blood Moon Ursaluna.
There's 1 energy left.
So there's an attacker, but how do you charge it up? Your opponent's taking 1 prize card.
I'm pretty sure it's impossible. Has this Toad Scroll just shut off this entire deck from Ed's side? Look at those energy. There's 1 fighting energy left, and it's in the prize card.
Okay, are you thinking 6 Tachyon bits to Toad Scroll?
I mean, it's possible. I guess. Do we have some other switching cards maybe to help out? Yeah, Ed is just stumped right now. I mean, we can get that retreat there from the Iron Bundle into some more Tachyon bits action. Moving into the act position from the bench, which means that's 2 more damage counters that are able to come on the field. It's great to pair with that Blood Moon Ursaluna that is able to attack for more damage for those damage counters. I mean, it's all comboing. It works great together, but not when you're completely shut down at this moment in time. So we're seeing the Hyper Blower here now from Ed. And I guess, yeah.
He's got the strategy lined up.
It's it. That's it.
Play down Iron Valiant.
Tachyon.
Go after the Toad Scroll. Eventually, you can attack in 4 turns.
One day.
You're a while away from it. You need some switching effects to help out here. We see plenty in the deck.
Ed saying, one day I'll see my energy again. One day.
And they're all gold, too. He's like a pirate.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we're going to have to find that treasure, Kyle. That's all I got to say here. Ed slowly, look, just
it's triple.
Another Iron Valiant EX. I mean, we need them right now. We need a lot of Tachyon bits here to start chipping away at that Toad Scroll on the bench. So we're going to see another one moving up to 40 damage counters now. On the Toad Scroll, we see the Jet Energy. That's going to allow for another application of the Tachyon bits onto the Toad Scroll. We're getting there slowly, Kyle.
There is a professor's research for next turn. There's a world where the triple Tachyon bits gets there. But during that time, what will Yakira establish? Because she's got Pidgeot. She's got a Hydreigon with 1 energy away from continuing to discard. Now has that energy established. There's not much else to ask for.
The strategy is there for Yakira, 100%. I mean, that Toad Scroll, that's just one small obstacle in the way. It's buying you time because you're completely disrupting your opponent, but then you're still just running away with your own strategy. I mean, you're further establishing your entire board state to win the game. So that's exactly what it's there for, to serve as an obstacle in the way so that you can just continue to do your own thing and take a win here. I mean, look at the prize cards. Both players have taken 1, but Yakira is in a much more offensive state versus Ed, who's just trying to take out a Toad Scroll right now. And look at that, the boss's orders taking out that Latias EX that has served so much utility so far to be able to free retreat those Pokemon, to be able to get the Tachyon bits. And look at this, the Obsidian here, or sorry, the Crashing Headbutts for those 3 discards on top of that. Wow, Latios EX being taken out. That's 2 prize cards down here for Yakira.
Yeah, the weakness there starting to add up. It takes the knockout on this Pokemon, and maybe Ed thinks, well, I'll just get it back, right? No,
No, you can't.
That discard pile is completely locked off. Finding a way to continue to push through with these Iron Valiants, it's getting pretty difficult at this stage. He's lost a lot of resources here. Yakira's already taken 3 prize cards too, and there's no damage on Hydreigon. It's just chilling, discarding away the deck.
It's discard, yeah, it's getting rid of even more resources that you can't even resupply at all. I mean, it is just an uphill battle here. Maybe Hisuian Heavy Ball's the answer for us.
That is one way to get resources that you didn't have access to.
At least we'll maybe shuffle the energy to the bottom.
And even then, there's no Pokemon to be found.
Yeah, you can't even
Ed is not having a good time.
You are not getting a resource there. Not a single basic Pokemon. Ed's just going to have to reshuffle here and replace those prize cards. Hisuian Heavy Ball is going to go to the discard pile, never to be retrieved again. So sad. All right. Let's see what Ed decides to do here. Just going to research now, discarding that Radiant Greninja. That was the only card hitting the discard pile. 7 new cards for Ed to work with. Got a Nest Ball. Here's some switching effects. Energy Retrieval that can't be used.
Oh, you see the switch. You see
another
the
jet energy.
Should be enough cards to get the job done. You just have to find a way to work in that switch, then the jet energy, and then retreat the Pokemon that had the jet, so that you're not wasting that. With that 2 retreat cost, you could retreat into the final Tachyon bits. So it's very wise here. Bring that Pokemon up. Now have the retreat available because you don't have that Latios. You take the knockout that's been ruining your deck. And then what? Because that's the end of
that's
your
the
turn.
real answer. And then what? We see that 3rd Tachyon bits. The Toedscruel's going down here, and it's going to take a prize card. It's not it is the energy. It is the energy. That is the last energy that we were working with. But hey, now the Toedscruel is gone. That's going to unlock this discard pile here now for Ed to be able to access once again. We saw the energy retrieval is in the hand as well for Ed. We're going to start off with this Pheasantipity, flipping the script here into 3 switch cards.
Could you imagine if that was the discard for Hydreigon?
Oh, no.
Instead, now all of these resources back into Ed's hand. He has the energy retrieval to add the second and third fighting energy as well. Is there a way to get a Blood Moon Ursaluna in play? I don't see it just yet. Oh, it's in hand. He's got it, so that's huge too.
Gosh.
But he's not going to attack for very much. There's no damage on Hydreigon.
Oh, yeah, that is tough. Hydreigon, and it's weak to grass, too, which is quite sad here for Ed. That's another reason this Blood Moon is great, because it is fighting type, which helps into a lot of this format right now for Ed. But this is, hey, at least I'm just happy the Toedscruel's gone and we got some Murkyle.
Mad Bite does line up at least for a Blood Moon Ursaluna follow-up play. You deal 100 damage this turn. You can line up to bring in your other the Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Yeah, you gotta
EX.
differentiate
Deal
them.
deal your 240. So there's a world where Ed still has a chance to remove this Pokemon, but my goodness, it's done so much work already. Not only the knockouts, but clearly with the denial of resources off the top of the deck.
Yeah, you're almost on a clock at that point in time, and look how thick that discard pile is for Ed. I mean, Yakira just looked through the entire thing, because that's a majority of the cards there now. Now we're back to Yakira's side. Ed
completely forgoes attacking in this spot, does not value dealing 100 damage, and now Yakira is going to build up another Hydreigon.
330 HP. Both of these Hydreigon EX are so beefy here, and Yakira is still going, of course, with this turn. There's such a dominant presence on the field already. 3 prize cards left to take here against Ed, and we're going in with an Arven here. It's going to be an item and a tool card. Thins out the deck, gets the pieces you need. Defiance Band, of course, is the tool selected, and the Dark Patch in the item.
All right, on Ed's side, if he wanted to remove this Pokemon from play, it would be a triple Tachyon Bits into the Mad Bite in order to get the job done, with the way that the damage would pile up. You'd have 60 on you, and then you deal just enough damage to take the knockout. It's so difficult to line up, but it actually can reach some pretty astounding numbers, but it involves so many switch cards. You have to think if Yakira discards the right pieces, it could be pretty devastating here.
Yeah, that's super tough. All right.
More resources here with the Dark Patch and the upper Neo energy to continue to just put threats in the way.
Yep, we got the Dark Patch earlier, then the Neo upper energy from that quick search on the Pidgeot EX. Now, of course, Nest Ball again. We're going back in the deck here, Kyle.
And it takes a look at how much of the deck is remaining at this point. It's not much, and you start to wonder of which attacks is going to get you over the finish line here. If you get a little greedy and go for an Obsidian play, try to put the damage on board to close out. I don't know if that lines up in your favor. Discarding and removing those resources has been something so valuable, but it doesn't take that knockout for you. So how do you finish in a spot like this?
Yeah, the knockout that you need. And we said this was going to be a long game, too. I mean, it is. We're still in our game 1 here, 28 minutes on the clock already. Yakira Tate attaching that Neo upper energy on to that Hydreigon EX as we see. And then we see the Obsidian. We've been crashing headbutt, discarding cards all game here, but now we have that Obsidian for the 130 base damage, and then you also get to do 130 to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This is what makes this card so powerful here. Not only does Crashing Headbutt do a ton of damage for just 2 energy card attachments, but then you lead that into a multi-prize card knockout to close out games.
It's difficult to say if this is the right call in the spot. You could continue to just put more pressure on the deck itself, force your opponent to have to use all those resources. I think Ed has some play here. He's got plenty of switching effects. You see switch card. There's triple Tachyon bits lined up. And if you want to attack into this Pokemon, I think he's got the ability to remove it from play. It's
yeah, look at that. Switch card even with the healing, too. Healing off some of that damage with the switch cards. Putting all of these damage counters on the board with the Tachyon Bix. The first two are going on to that Duskull.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the math lines up for if you deal 60 to the active, Mad Bite's doing 180 more damage. That's going to be 280. 60 left, that's 340. It's a knockout on the active Pokemon attacking with the baby Blood Moon.
I mean,
instead does not want that. wants to remove the Duskull as a threat that could have potentially taken those 2 prizes.
Well, it's been removed, Kyle. That Duskull being knocked out on the bench thanks to triple Tachyon bits here. That's going to take it off of the field. 1 prize card now for Ed.
Ooh, how do you handle the active?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
The
Pokemon 330 HP.
It wins the game too.
Yes, it does. And there's 2 of them. Of course, one has a lot more energy on it than the other. But yeah, Ed is going to utilize this boss's orders now onto this Rotom V, switching into this Blood Moon.
Takes a lot of prize cards. Unfortunately, it's not enough.
Not enough, which is quite sad there for Ed. It's going to be the 2 prize cards down from the Rotom, but that's it. Still stuck with 1 left to take, and Yakira just re-promoting this Hydreigon.
Yep, and that's going to be the closeout here, taking the 6 prize cards to close out that game. Unusual amount of discarding, unusual amount of prize cards taken.
I was supposed to say we didn't even need that many, but
might as well flex when you get to a spot like this. Show off the power of your deck. What an unusual closeout there.
Yeah,
both players kind of going for like the oddball line. I understand from Yakira's standpoint, you can get aggressive in that spot, spread the damage out, and then set up for that closeout win with the Rare Candy Dusknoir. You can do the same thing by discarding, holding on to that Neo energy. Let's take a look at the replay and see just how that game closed out.
Yeah, let's check this out. That was a long game between our players. We started off strong here on Ed's side, establishing that Blood Moon Ursaluna, taking the knockout there on that Dino. But then once that Toad Scroll was established on the other side, and then look at this, just 3 energy go down, and then 6 total to the discard pile all at once for Ed. That put him in a pickle. He was just churning away at this Toad Scroll on the bench, but that allowed Yakira to be able to gain momentum and start discarding Ed's cards, as well as just reestablishing her own board as well. Ed had to do so many Tachyon bits there. Maybe it was the strat here, Kyle. Yakira did the Obsidian, spread all that damage around, and Ed was so scared of that Dust Skull, just had to take it out.
Yeah, well, clearly for Ed, there's things that you can play around and there's things you cannot. If your opponent has Rare Candy Dusknoir, you're going to lose that game. If they had either piece of it in hand, they search out the other part with the Pidgeot and they get there and they close out the game. But one thing you did see was the Hydreigon. You could have removed that from play, focused all of your efforts onto that, and then hoped your opponent did not have either piece. And then maybe you have a way to actually win that game instead of taking what felt like a pity knockout there on the Rotom at the end.
It did, yes. The pity knockout. Didn't get enough prize cards to take things home, and Yakira was able to secure that game. In the end, that means Yakira Tate is here at 1-0 in our Swiss Round 7. Going into a game 2 here between our players. As we were talking about, it's 23 minutes pretty much left on the clock, and we're seeing another mulligan here this time around from Yakira as well. I wonder if this deck mulligans a lot.
We've noticed that, but it seems like it should have a
decent amount of basics.
A standard amount there, maybe what, 11 Pokemon to think about there to start with. I'm sure there has to be a better one than the Toad School.
Yeah, right.
To start with, as we've seen, that is a pretty valuable resource to have, especially when you discard all of those energies. Maybe it's not like the best card, but when you discard 3 fighting or 2 fighting and a jet, it becomes amazing right on the spot.
It is really astounding, though, how heavily those jet energy also carried Ed, too. And I mean, think about just the fact that this is a Blood Moon Ursaluna deck at its core, you know? You weren't seeing the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, you were seeing the small little Blood Moon Ursaluna with the Mad Bite and the Battle Hardened. The fact that it's able to power up those energy cards is pretty huge there. So.
I was getting nervous. I was wondering who was going first here. Yakira starts Cleffa and didn't bench a Pokemon, but thankfully
we're good. We're good.
I'm like, you can lose here.
Oh no! Yeah, we are fine.
Tachyon bits add up.
They absolutely do. Especially when you can get a bunch of them down. And look how big the hand is now because Ed was able to take some mulligan. I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but at least 1 mulligan. Nestball is going to start us off over on Yakira's side. Look at that, 2 Pidgeys and 2 Arvins in the prize cards. You never want to see doubles in your prize cards. You know, you're playing copies of 3 or 4 so that you have the consistency there. And then when so many of them are stuck in there, it can lead to some very awkward turns. But Cleffa for the start here for Yakira, as well as a Dino coming down. And that Rotom V, that's going to get us somewhere here on this beginning turn.
Has the resources to search out 1 more Pokemon in the spot. And with Pidgey not being available, maybe Toad School, it ends up becoming a pretty great resource in this spot. You know how important it is to lock out your opponent's discard pile. You could do that as early as the 2nd turn. Ultra Ball already held in the hand, Rotom V continuing to fill up, and then next turn, you're probably using Cleffa anyways. Just establish this big threat, and your opponent has to squirm once more.
Yeah, get your Pokemon down that need to evolve in the next turn, so that you are putting on the pressure. Looks like that's what Yakira Tate is going to opt for. Toad School coming back again. Looks so friendly and so nice in the art, but that thing, once it's a Toad School, it sneaks up on you.
That's a bad guy right there.
Very
Look out.
Yeah, he's running to go behind the tree to turn into the Toad School and do some damage, at least to your deck and your strategy, I should say. Rotom V going to instant charge. There's 3 additional cards here. Ooh, finds the Poffin, another Dino, and a counter gain there from Yakira. Ed, on the other hand, as we said, started out with a huge hand. Let's see what we can make happen here. Earthen Vessel going to start us off searching out those energy cards for Ed here after a discard.
This was the big piece that was missing last game. Did not have access to the energies until the very tail end and then did not have the energy for the turn to make anything of it. Had to miss on that opening attack. This time could be completely different with the Earthen Vessel, maybe an opportunity to establish that Blood Moon Ursaluna early in the turn, then continue to draw. It likely could lead to a turn 1 knockout.
Well, we're going to see a couple more energy in the prize cards and that super important Latias EX as well that we saw have so much utility with the Skyliner ability, allowing for those retreats from Ed and all those Tachyon bits to happen. Now it's in the prize cards, as well as the Blood Moon.
That is gross.
And look at that, the switch and the jet energy.
Exactly, a switch, a jet, a Latias, and not to mention 3 of your 9 energies in a deck that's already been struggling. You see 4 more of those energies with the combination of the discard pile in hand there, and you're going to lose plenty of resources here. There's 2 more energies left in the deck.
Yeah, it's so slim.
What do you do with that if you see Toad Scroll next turn?
Oh no, yeah, we got the same thing. Who knows? Ultra Ball gonna discard those 2 fighting energy here for Ed. Go back into the deck here. Gonna get the Squawkabilly. That's going to lead to even more discard here for Ed. Do have some play before that, of course, before we throw the hand completely away.
Yeah, looks like the energy retrieval is there. Don't have to worry about having that locked out. You do have access to those energies this time. Pat yourself on the back. You're getting a turn 1 attack so long as you find a switch out here. And plenty of opportunities. Even though the prize cards weren't great, Squawkabilly could run into all sorts of cards to get you out of this mess.
Yeah, Squawkabilly, such a little buddy. Our bird that helps so much on these beginning turns.
There's also a switch card in hand.
Oh, that's nice.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Well, we have this Blood Moon Ursaluna here coming down, accelerating those energy onto it, attaching for the turn as well. We have the switch cards. We're going to see the Hyper Blower from the Iron Bundle. Once again here, that's going to move that Cleffa out into another Pokemon, and it's going to be the Dino being brought up. It's the only Dino as well on that side of the field for Yakira. And then we see that Professor's Research. The hand was completely played down here for Ed, which is huge here. Now we're seeing a fresh 7 cards.
All of your instincts tell you don't bring up that Dino. You don't want to lose this Pokemon. You need to attack at some point, but it's correct. You can't miss out on drawing with the Rotom V. You need that Toad Scroll if you want to lock your opponent out during the long part of this game. You have the Buddy Buddy Poffin, so there's a chance to rebuild here.
Some recovery,
but this is a devastating opener to see from your opponent. They are absolutely going crazy here. The one benefit, they didn't work in many Tachyon bits. If Tachyon bits were on that Toad School, I'd be going to game 3 right now.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Well, the Nest Ball here for Ed as well to bring down the Iron Valiant EX. Does have the ability to the Tachyon bits, but we already have this Blood Moon Ursaluna in the active position here now. Oh, we even have the Radiant Greninja, which was discarded in our game 1, but actually is going to see some utility this time around. Going to net us a Lana's Aid as well as an Iono to the hand.
2 extra cards, but at what cost? You lose a Jet Energy, another big resource, knowing those prize cards.
Yeah.
Ways to include Tachyon bits from this point forward are getting tricky. And look at this, so many resources. It's worth a double switch here to tackle down on that Toad School.
Look at that. I mean, it is super, super dominant of a play here from Ed. The Tachyon bits onto the Toad School, had to burn so many resources to get there, but now we're here. Blood Moon Ursaluna going to take the knockout onto this Dino here, leaving Yakira with just the Cleffa back in the active position. That Iron Bundle carried so much weight in that turn, and Ed is also going to draw into another Blood Moon Ursaluna off the prize cards after that knockout. Yakira over here on this side, going to be able to start the turn off, as we said. The Buddy Buddy Poffin was in the hand from the last turn. We also instant charged in the last turn to draw into 3 additional pieces here for Yakira, but we're gonna have to reestablish here, get some Pokemon out. The Toad Scroll does slow things down, but is it gonna be enough after this start from Ed?
Yeah, I was curious how Yakira wants to play out the rest of this bench at this point, because there is Ultra Ball, which means that you could go for Pokemon like that Pheasantipity and draw into some additional resources in the middle of this turn. Maybe find a card like Arven, and then you could Hisuian Heavy Ball, have a Pidgey ready to go. But that's thinking a lot about your bench space, and you just ran out of bench spaces right here now. You want to play down this Dino and this Duskull, have room for the Fezandipity. You don't have space anymore. And this really limits your amount of reach that you have throughout the rest of the game. Your opponent could target down singular dinos from here on out, and how do you attack?
Yeah, that is very true. And just having the Fezandipity out is a big liability as well. It's definitely looking sticky here, but it's going to be 2 Dino as well as a Duskull on the board here from Yakira. We're going to see the Grasping draw on the Cleffa to draw a lot more resources into the hands. That's going to help us out a little bit here. 4 additional cards.
There wasn't a way to use the Ultra Ball for the Toad Scroll. It was just the Grasping draw to reload. And that means that Pokemon is going to be a big target once more. We could see Ed target down that Toad School, probably knock that out, and maybe get a secondary knockout with the Blood Moon Ursaluna, take a big lead and not worry about losing his resources for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that would be huge here. Lana's Aid being played here now from Ed. Gonna get these Pokemon and energy cards back to the hands. You can at this point in time. Thankfully, it's not shut down this time around. Radiant Greninja also being utilized. It's going to throw away that fighting energy. Drawn to 2 additional cards. We're going to see a Pokestop here.
Before using the Nest Ball, this is scary.
Wow, whoa. Look at that. 3 cards netted into the hand off of those items here for Ed. One of them being the Prime Catcher. That pink A-Spec card allows you to switch your Pokemon and your opponent's Pokemon.
Wow, I mean, that is crazy to think about. Now with the Nest Ball, you could search out another Iron Valiant. You could use your Prime Catcher to switch into this Pokemon, include another Tachyon Bits. You have 40 damage for the Toedscool. You Prime Catcher target whatever Pokemon you want to knock out. You could go after Rotom and take 2 additional prize cards here. It's all up to Ed how he wants to play out the rest of this game. He could speed it up right here, right now.
We've got options. We have got options, Kyle. This is fantastic to see from Ed's side, and it all is really just because of Yakira having that lackluster turn 1 that we saw. It's all led to this now. There's been so many resources utilized from Ed's side of the field, but it has been paying off here. We're seeing another switch card, the Tachyon Bits, the Prime Catcher now back into the Blood Moon Ursaluna here, and that Dino into the active on Yakira's side with the energy which attached, which is huge as well.
Right, you force your opponent to either have that upper Neo energy.
I think it's Neo upper.
Neo upper, yeah. The counter gain combos, the Dark Patch. Just force them to have additional resources when they don't have the Pidgeot established. It's a lot to ask. There are a few more cards to work with in this hand, and we do see some valuable pieces.
2 prize cards down for Ed, and so many important resources being eliminated from Yakira's side of the field. Not to mention the Toad School already has that 40 damage on it too from some Tachyon Bits. So it's another thing. It's not just going to be a clean Toad Scroll if we're able to get there. We're going to see this Ultra Ball first off for Yakira. Discarding another Ultra Ball as well as that Petrarunt. We're finally going to get into another Pokemon here, but eyeing up the Fezandipity as potentially the choice here to just draw into some cards.
Need some help. The resources didn't line up just yet. Plenty of ways to enrich your attacker. You have the counter gain, the Neo upper, but you don't have the attacker just yet.
Yeah.
So flip the script, maybe find a valuable supporter card. I think the Iona was in hand, but with the pieces that you already see, you're just hoping to get over that hump and find the last bits that you need.
Last Tachyon Bits.
Help!
Yeah. Well, we're flipping the script here.
Oh,
canceling Cologne, Rare Candy, and
the Terra Orb. Yes, we saw the Ultra Ball discarded by the Ultra Ball, but did have the Terra Orb there to search out the Hydreigon. That is huge.
That is huge. We need that High Dragon. It's going to get all of that HP on the board, and we finally have a attacker here for Yakira as well. These dinos have just been getting farmed this whole time from Ed.
Rightfully
here.
so.
Yes, exactly.
I don't want to deal with 330 hit points. Remove the little guy.
But now we finally have the little guy turned into a big guy. 330 HP on this High Dragon EX. It's going to get the counter gain. It's going to get that Neo Upper Energy as well. And we're comboing that with the Super Rod.
I don't know about the Dark Energy, because I think you want to leave options for the Dark Patch draw.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you can attack with Obsidian this turn, you could potentially win the game in 2 turns.
Well, it's going to be, that's the only Dark Energy, huh? That was in the discard?
I think that's the only one I saw.
Yeah. I think you're right. Well, it's going to be shuffled back into the deck now thanks to that Super Rod here from Yakira. So no option for the Dark Patch here in this turn.
Oh, we still have Iono draws. The Pokestop is there as well. So a few more ways to potentially get there and attack with this ridiculous 4 energy cost attack. Iono is the first piece, however.
It is pretty ridiculous indeed. I mean, it's pretty rare you see a 4 energy attack, and usually it's on a beefier Pokemon that has some sort of ability to limit the energy or something like that. But nope. High Dragon, I mean, it's astonishing that it even functions here, but you're seeing it happen on our screen right now. Yakira activating this Iono for both of our players. Ed's just going to have 4 cards, as you saw there, while Yakira's going to have 6. Now this High Dragon is in the active position. Crashing Headbutt once again, discarding these top 3. What are the resources that are going to be lost here from Ed? It's 2 Ball Search cards, as well as what was that middle one?
I think it was a retrieval or something energy related.
I think it was a retrieval. I can't see.
No.
The cards are
it's a
too
Switch.
shiny. Oh, okay.
It is the same odd art, though.
Yes.
Thick text.
Well, Ed here losing that Blood Moon Ursaluna, but we still have damage being put out. This Toadschool, it was never able to turn into a Toadscroll, and it's going to be taken out on the bench here. That's an additional prize card there for Ed to take. Still no Latias, but it seems like we have infinite Switch cards at this point in time. We've used so many of them.
Yeah, you're thinking about a prize map now for Ed as he just works his way through. He's using that Pokestop and does not find much, but does have access to some energies. But, I mean, if you can take out this Cleffa with Tachyon Bits and then go after that Rotom V with your baby Blood Moon Ursaluna, there's a world where you never have to work through Hydreigon. I like that one a lot more.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, you could go for the Rotom V or the Peasantipity. That actually is a dark Pokemon that does have fighting weakness.
Let's knock them all out.
Exactly. The liabilities are there, but, I mean, they're only there because Yakira needed that support in those Pokemon. So Ed here, concealed cards, discarding that fighting energy. Now netting 2 more to the hand. What else we got? It's pretty thick hands.
Yeah, Night Stretcher now included, so maybe that reach for the Blood Moon Ursaluna, but needs a little more help.
Taking a look through the discard pile, see what we want to play here.
Boss's orders in hand, so targeting down a Pokemon that you can take those 2 prize cards on a lot easier here. You have plenty of time. Yakira has 5 prize cards remaining. It's going to be difficult, at least 2 turns, in order to take all of those with the Hydreigon, and there's a little Cleffa hanging out. I like that.
Little Cleffa, the shiny Cleffa too. Well, that Earthen Vessel going to discard an Ogre Pond there to get this last fighting energy into the hand. We have now 2 in the hand here for Ed. That's what you need here. Be able to accelerate. We have the Jet Energy as well lined up here for Ed. Of course, the Night Stretcher already in the hand to get out that Blood Moon Ursaluna.
And you can see how different this deck functions without the Latias. If you have the ability to swap in these Tachyon Bits, the game may have already been over at this stage. Ed has the Jet Energy, the double fighting for the Blood Moon Ursaluna, and the boss's orders. to take a big knockout here on the Rotom. Was not able to get the job done with the bits, but probably has it for next turn. It's all on Yakira here to buy an additional turn and attack with Obsidian.
Yeah, here we go. Blood Moon Ursaluna doing its job, being put onto the bench, accelerating those fire energy from the hand. The jet energy brings in the active, takes those 2 prize cards. Yakira Tate's going to start us off here on the left side of our field with just that Hydreigon EX. Still tons of prize cards left to take, but can we put enough obstacles in the way? And we're just under 6 minutes here on the clock between our players as well. So if Ed's able to take this game, we can have the same conclusion we saw in the other game that we casted, Kyle.
Yep, it's getting to that point. There's just not much time. You need to slow down your opponent by disrupting their hand. They finally found the Latias and the switch card. It's all there. But the supporter for the turn is not Iono. It's going to be the Arven. That means there's at least one more turn with these resources in play. What can Yakira cook up? Maybe promoting a different Pokemon. Is there a world where you can include the Dusknoir in? No, there's 1 prize card remaining.
Yeah, there's only 1.
I don't like where this is going.
It's got to be the big HP left in the active position if we're going to have an additional turn here. Or you just find some way to... Your opponent doesn't have enough resources at this point in time, but Ed has got plenty now that the Latias EX as well is in the hand from the prize cards.
Just not much to work with here, unfortunately. It's the 2 copies of Iono, so don't know if there was an opportunity to go a little deeper. Maybe the Pheasantipede could draw into that card and
it's true, yeah.
give you that spot. We'll see now if the resources are found.
Well, let's see. Flip the script here. 3 additional cards. Dark Energy, and Hisuian Heavy Ball. That's all we're going to see there from that flip the script.
I don't think that was great.
I don't think it's flipping the script, Kyle.
Yep. The script reads the exact same. And it's that Ed is going to have a great time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we do still see at least the discard there in the Blood Moon Ursaluna and the Iono Ed now here. Starting off with the Squawkabilly, we have that switch cart here. That's the first Tachyon bits that we see come down onto that Cleffa. It's so small, and it's it. That is knocked out. Cleffa on the bench here. Ed's going to take the last prize card needed to secure this game 2 here in our Swiss round 7. And there's only like 3 minutes left.
Yeah, has there been a more anticlimactic way to close out both games? We had Hydreigon on board that literally just promoted
like, and we promote and win.
Then Ed just needs to find a switching card in a deck that plays all of them. I think he's going to get there.
I still feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm mixing up the first game with the second game, but it just feels like Ed has infinite resources somehow. There's so many switch cards that are played, but and there wasn't even a Latias that time around.
Yeah.
So it just had it.
Well, let's take a look at game 2 and see if we can refresh your memory a little bit here.
Yes, let's do it. It all blends together. Those are some long games, but Ed here in our game 2, starting out strong. Unfortunately, Yakira only had that 1 dino that was then hyper blowered up because of the important resources on the other side. And that's what slowed down this game from the beginning here.
Yeah, you could see the issue for Yakira. The double Pidgey in the prize cards really led to this awkward board state. There was just no way to find the right pieces at the right time. No Arven, no nothing. And slowly but surely, you built up with that Rotom, tried to find resources. It leads you in a spot like this. There were just no cards to be drawn that could get you out of that mess. And
exactly.
You just had singletons all over the place getting knocked out.
Yep, it was super awkward there for Yakira. Of course, starting this game 3 off, it's not over yet until the time is up, and it truly is over. It's a 1-1 match here in our Swiss round 7 into a game 3 between our players. Ed starting off with a Pheasantipede in the active position, as well as Yakira with that Rotom V. Squawkabilly's already out on the field thanks to that nest ball here from Ed as well, so that can be utilized in this turn. We're going to see a lot of stuff happen now as we see the Ultra Ball as well, discarding some cards into this Blood Moon Ursaluna. We're going to have even more discard coming up here as well.
Yeah, there's double fighting energy to go along with this.
What?
You are threatening knockout on the Rotom V on the next turn. If Yakira does not find basics, like we've seen her struggle with her opening hands at least, there is a world where this could be difficult.
Yo!
The switch card immediately promoting this Pokemon.
Imagine that. Your Squawk ability EX, you don't even have to discard with the Squawk and Seize. The switch card promoting into that Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Squawk looking like Shaman over here.
You're right? That already has the energy thanks to its ability there in the Battle Hardened. As soon as you play it, you can attach those fighting energy from your hand to it there. It's pretty darn cool. And that's Ed also going to secure the second Blood Moon Ursaluna thanks to that Hisuian Heavy Ball as well, getting it out of the prize cards, reshuffling up here. There's not much time left in this match.
Yeah, I'm not cutting the prize cards. We have a minute left, my guy.
Would you like to cut? That's too funny. All right, let's see what else Ed got to the hand from that Squawk and Seize.
Yeah, the Earthen Vessel, the energy's there.
Yeah.
It's all there.
You got it. You
have to pass the turn
can't
over.
attack, yeah.
Hopefully your opponent does not have the resources to expand on this bench. If you leave them with just Rotom, you have a chance.
I know, yeah. Rotom V, super awkward. HP, 190 there. It's weak. Does a lot, but it's weak. It hasn't turned into like the washing machine or something,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not mowing the lawn anytime soon.
Well, we see here from Ed placing down that Iron Valiant EX and then passing the turn over to Yakira. Everything is ready to go here, and Yakira is going to be able to Arven for this first turn going second.
Ed may not have said it, but his body language said, "Aw, shucks."
Yeah.
Did not want to see that resource there. The Arven basically locks in that this is going to be a long one. The Buddy Poffin, the Forest Sealstone, I believe it's already in hand too. This is going to be a full board.
Yeah.
Yakira was going for a long game, and you know what? We just don't have enough time for that.
Unfortunately, time has just been called between these players, Yakira being turn 0 here. So very cool decks, but we just didn't have enough time to get through this last game, Kyle. I'm so glad we got to see them shine for both of our players. I guess that's the one plus. But Yakira is able to get out these resources here that in that Buddy Poffin and a tool card. And we're going to see some additional Pokemon hit the field.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but for both these players at 5-1-1, that's a pretty fantastic record to continue to build on throughout the rest of the tournament. We'll see Yakira continue to build, show what she was capable of. Yeah, Forest Sealstone was right there. Probably another Buddy Poffin and even more resources in play. This was going to be a pretty great game 3.
I know, I just wish I could continue watching it, Kyle. I mean, we saw in that game too, the only thing really that was stopping Yakira there was what? Oh no!
Yeah, maybe it wasn't going to be a good game 3. those prize cards are kind of tough.
Oh, no.
We got saved.
Hey. Yeah, that would have been awkward. That would have been awkward. I mean, we're looking back in the deck now with the second Buddy Poffin. I was about to say the only thing that was standing in Yakira's way the last game was having just that singular dino down. It was kind of awkward. There was nothing we could establish fast enough. And then now look what's happening.
Yep. All right, let's... I was going to say, we could maybe go into Ed's head. If he drew the perfect resources, is there a world where your opponent has enough 50, 60 hit point Pokemon that you could go triple bits and knockouts on V Pokemon twice to get the job done? The answer is yes. Your opponent would have to bench Pheasantipity and also continue to bench down Pidgeys, but I guess you could get there. It doesn't feel likely, but there's something to watch for, I suppose. You see the energies here now with the Earthen Vessel. I mean, for Yakira, this has got to continue to play out her game, which is load up that Dino most likely.
I mean, yeah,
Threaten
we're playing it out.
Hydreigon if you can.
We're playing it out here. Dino getting attached for the turn 2. We're going to see that instant charge now from the Rotom V. So we got that Forest Sealstone. We got the Toadstool out. The Pidgey is out as well. And we have a nice, decent hand size as well for Yakira. Ed on the other side, starting this turn off. I mean, everything was established. We just couldn't even attack because Ed was going first in that last turn. But now we're going to see what we can do with this board. Switch carding into this Iron Valiant EX to get that Tachyon bits already going on this Toadstool.
Yeah, there's not much else that you can do, though, unfortunately. You don't have the Latias. You don't have another Iron Valiant to work with. And slowly but surely you add up those 20 damage over and over again. There's boss's orders added back in, hoping your opponent plays down some V Pokemon that you can take advantage of. But in this spot, you're happy with those 2 prize cards, and I mean, who knows? Maybe we're playing for a gentleman's.
I would think so at this point, because they're still we don't see the same shrugging, that we saw in our first game.
There's definitely something up, but just keep playing Pokemon.
Yeah. Hey, they're playing Pokemon. We're here casting it. That's for sure. Maybe I should just throw out some crab facts, huh, Kyle?
I'm down for a crab fact right about now.
Well, first we're going to see this professor's research here, discarding the hand into another 7 cards for Ed. It's a lot more cards to the hand to work with. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Plenty of ways to
time
move.
Catcher boss.
Has ways to target down whatever Ed so chooses here. But
yeah,
with your eye on the prize cards, Rotom is already in the active for you. That's 2 more to take down. And just hope your opponent doesn't have the resources. Maybe you could throw down enough bits, but it's you need help. You need some of these Pokemon to go away. Can you knock out my Squawkabilly next turn? I need Latios to bounce around.
Oh my goodness. Where'd this deck even come from, Kyle?
TCG Live. That's where it's lived, and that's probably where it will remain, unless Ed can convert a few people. It's such a goofy deck, but it also just sometimes lines up really well.
Is there only one in our field right now?
He may just be the one. Yes.
Because it's made it to our stream.
I mean,
if
you watch Sacramento, this looks like a great deck.
Yeah, that's true.
Maridon players,
so
beware.
True. Well, we're going to see the knockout here from Ed, taking out that Rotom V, leading to the first, to the prize cards, 2 prize cards down for Ed. Yakira, on the other hand, has to be able to match that. So 0-1, so this is turn 2 now, I believe, between our players.
And that's the trickiest part of this. If this was turn 1 for Yakira, there's a world where this happens. Counter gain, energy, rare candy, Hydreigon. With the Neo upper energy, you would use the Obsidian on 3 of these Pokemon V or EX, and then next turn you clean them all up if they're not knocked out. You can win the game right then and there, but there is no turn 4. And for Yakira, that is devastating because she's right there knocking on the door.
Well, I got news, Kyle. There's 3 of these Blood Moon decks out in our field.
How are they doing?
Be scared.
Someone needs to tell.
Listen, we didn't ask that question, okay?
With a collective record.
Rare candy into this Hydreigon, out onto the bench now. Hydreigon out here. I don't know. It's going to lead to some shuffling here, disrupting the hand on Ed's side. I mean, that hand was thick. That was a big hand.
Yakira's looking for the pink card here.
I don't see pink. I see some purple.
I see metal.
Yeah, that too.
That is a way to get there. You could actually just use the basic energies to get there, but you can't provide the metal and the psychic at the same time.
Unfortunately, no, but you can still take this knockout. Crashing headbutt, taking out that Blood Moon Ursaluna, discarding those top 3 cards as well. That's more resources down for Ed, and that's going to be it. That's our last turn between our players. We saw the fist bump here. We'll have to see if it is going to just be a tie between them or if they had some sort of agreement worked out.